I had a dream that I was with Pat Riley, and I asked him the question, what was better basketball, in his opinion? The Showtime Lakers in the 80s, his Knicks in the 90s, or the Miami Heat now? Like, what is considered better basketball? And I was just curious what he would say, because he was part of, the explosion of fast-breaking, fun time, Showtime with Magic and company, to then it was Greco-Roman wrestling, where the Cavs and the New York Knicks were threatening to ruin basketball with the way they played, to now you have Miami Heat and their style, and maybe it's not the Miami Heat, but just basketball in general now. Because I think at some point, somebody is going to go be counterintuitive to everybody shooting threes. The Rockets are going small ball. Now, the Rockets are going to have a problem when they go up against a team that's got a rim protector. Now, they won last night. They beat Boston. They had Harden and Westbrook. They combined for 78. This doesn't mean anything to me. Now, they're exploring this now to workshop this to get to the postseason. Because everything that has to do with the Rockets and James Harden is, what about the postseason? You're going to get a matchup that's not going to be favorable to you, and I do think you're going to have teams that go, you know what? Let's go big. Because the Clippers don't have a rim protector, and that was obvious last night, playing against the 76ers. Joel Embiid, Ben Simmons, they were able to do what they wanted. And the Clippers are going to run into this, certainly with the Lakers. LeBron and Anthony Davis, that is going to be a big issue. Dwight Howard, that will be an issue. Big issue, no pun intended. But some of these teams, if we looked at what a typical big man was 15 or 20 years ago, you'd have a lot of guys with their backs to the basket. Now you have the bigs who can run and they can shoot threes. But I still think there's room, like James Wiseman, the Memphis kid, who eventually, he got suspended and then eventually said, I'm going to prepare for the NBA. He might be the number one overall pick. I don't know if he can play in today's NBA game the style that you want your big man, unless you're going to say, let's say you're Golden State and you end up with James Wiseman. What do you do with him? You still have to have a rim protector, in my opinion. That's what I was looking at with Clint Capella, because I thought the Rockets, you'd still use Clint Capella because he helped you on defense. And how many times you see Harden or Westbrook go to the hoop and just throw it up, alley-oop to him. But somebody at some point, it's the same thing I said about running the football. Somebody's eventually going to go, this isn't all wide open football here. Derrick Henry and the Titans proved it's not all wide open football. Not everybody has a Derrick Henry there. The Ravens, it may have felt wide open, but that was a running team. Run first, pass second. Ingram, Lamar Jackson. So if I can't out Mahomes, it's just like trying to beat Golden State at their own game. You can't do that. When everybody was healthy, you couldn't beat them at what they were doing. That's where you have to be. You have to be different. The Rockets, I give them credit, they're trying to be different because they can't be size-wise competing with the Lakers. And if Golden State was still Golden State, they wouldn't be able to compete with them. They're doing something different. And I applaud them for that. Take a chance because you got a coach whose job is riding on this. And James Harden's reputation rides on this as well because he might be one of the fascinating great scorers of all time and nothing to show for it. But I think that this is a nice chemistry project here that you have down in your lab. Yeah, Paul.
And what you're saying about the three-pointer and the big man not having a role, a couple years ago, just 2 years ago, in that 2018 draft, DeAndre Ayton out of Arizona, great, really good big man. He's 21 years old. He's averaging 19 and 12. He's right on course to be a dominant big man in our league. He does not shoot threes whatsoever. If you redrafted that draft, DeAndre Ayton, he went first, Marvin Bagley second, Luka Doncic and Trae Young. Doncic and Young would go 1-2, right?
Yeah.
Completely, without no doubt, over DeAndre Ayton, who is a very good center.
Yeah. And in the older days, 15 years ago, DeAndre Ayton, you'd be like salivating that you got a guy that was that big, that talented, can run the floor. Now it's just different. And that's where I had this dream about Pat Riley, and I thought, man, that Showtime Lakers, everybody ran back then. Because even when they faced the Celtics, like Bird, McHale, they all ran. Parrish, they all ran. But you weren't shooting threes. If you were shooting threes, you wouldn't have that kind of Showtime Lakers. It just would be a different game there. He didn't answer me in the dream, by the way.
Oh, how does hair look?
His hair looked great.
Yeah,
he looked great. But I'm going to guess that he would talk about the Showtime Lakers as great basketball because that team, and that was something that was branded. That was different than what we had ever seen. Showtime Lakers. Because the Showtime Lakers could still be the Showtime Lakers. They would take more shots. They'd take more threes. Like, you can't look at what was happening in the 90s. You know, that's not going to happen. It just aesthetically wasn't pleasing. Today's NBA, it feels like it's too, 3-point driven. They're scoring a lot of points, but that doesn't mean you have great shooters out there. Yeah, McLovin.
I don't like the foul calls. The way they call Harden has really made the game ugly. He's setting the record for most free throws this year.
Yeah, but you can go back to when Bird and Jordan played.
There was nothing like Harden shoots twice as many free throws.
But because he shoots more than anybody, he has the ball more than anybody.
But Trae Young's starting to do the same thing. He's starting to get 15 foul shots a game too. They're just call these tic-tac calls outside.
I know. I mean, they're taking advantage of the rules. There were games that I would go to, and all of a sudden somebody like Jordan would go through the lane, and you just hear a whistle, and you knew somebody was going to get called for it. And that didn't mean that they fouled Jordan. It was just going to call whistle. Bird, somebody fouled him. So we had those phantom whistles back then. But nowadays, these guys understand I can create contact with you, and that's what Harden does better than anybody. I create that contact in the shooting motion, and I'm going to shoot free throws. I don't like it, but he's taking advantage of the rules. Yeah, Paul.
James Harden is averaging 12 free throw attempts per game. Michael Jordan at age 23, when he averaged 37 points per game, averaged 12 free throw attempts per game.
Yeah.
Most of his career.
Jordan got a lot of phantom calls there, too, which I never understood. Why do we give the great players even more latitude when it comes to, I think they fouled you? I always think it's the guy who isn't very good who needs a little bit of help there.
For more Dan Patrick Show, tune into Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV. Stream for free on BR Live or download the Dan Patrick Show app.